Okay, boys, let's get into this tier list. I know we have been fiending to talk about the classic raids. We are going to rank each raid based on how much fun they were. Did they provide an adequate challenge, the zone design or aesthetic, and other personal preferences?
Sounds good, Barry. This should be fun.
I don't know. I imagine this will get pretty heated, but we'll see.
Okay, up first is Molten Core. I'm sure back in the day this was a cool experience. However, after the first reset in Classic, holy fuck was it boring. It was a complete snooze fest, and it sucked to have to keep running for bindings that never dropped.
Yeah, it does not hold up well. I mean, most bosses' entire mechanics are just use your abilities like Decurse and Trank Shot, and yet people still fucked it up. I don't know what's worse, that the fights were that brain dead easy for anyone with an IQ higher than their character's level, or that my raid still had issues on Major Domo due to people breaking sheeps like retards.
So I'm thinking low C tier, at least it has cool lore, and was the first ever raid. Got to give it some props, right?
Abso-fucking-lutely not, bottom of D tier. There is so much trash to kill, and whoever made those Double Blossom fire packs deserve what you did to those poor Middle Eastern kids, Obama. God, the amount of times I lost my world buffs and the ability to parse to those wretched things.
Hold up, that's just because your healers hated you so much, you fat bastard. And no shot is this instance D tier. Seeing Ragnaros, after all the hype and buildup, come out of the lava and smite that bitch Major Domo makes this a B tier instance alone. Plus, having 40 adventures packed into an instance, taking on huge and powerful creatures really felt immersive back in the day. And the difficulty wasn't meant to be hard. It was the first raid ever made, and it was meant to be a stepping stone for future raids. Some of my favorite vanilla experiences involved delving into that pit of fiery hell and vanquishing his lieutenants and champions.
I'm going to stop you right there. I know your old farty ass played back then, but I also know that you definitely never got invited into a Molten Core. You barely hit level 60 before TBC came out. I mean, even in Classic, you parse straight 30s as a hunter. You aren't that guy, Joe.
What? No, that's cap.
Joe, in no way is Molten Core a B tier raid. You need to up your meds. I'll give it C tier just so we can move on. Onyxia's Lair is next.
What's there not to love about her? She literally cucks all of the Alliance zones in the Eastern Kingdoms out of troops, makes Bolver her bitch, the first of many people to do this, and makes all the starting area zones weak, which allows for the adventurers to come in and grow into heroes. While the instance is short, I kind of like that. I mean, she is a dragon. She works for Deathwing, but she doesn't rely on allies like that coward Nefarian. While Onyxia is not a complex fight, it's an iconic one with that little bitch boy raging about whelps and dots. A tier raid easy.
I have sharp pain racking my body as I say this, but I agree with Trump. The raid is the culmination of the entire Alliance storyline in Classic. And even to just get in, you have to go on a long, multi-continent epic quest that takes you into Blackrock Depths, which arguably is the best dungeon ever made. The fight was fun and perfectly balanced. It really feels like you are fighting a dragon. Great raid.
Well, I personally think she was a little bit too easy. There are groups that have beaten it with naked characters, but it is a fun, quick raid. I also liked seeing how fast you could nuke her down later in the X-Pack to really see how far your group has progressed. I am good with a tier.
Wow, guys, we actually all agreed for once. So next is Blackwing Lair?
Yes, Donald, personally, I really like this raid.
Now let me stop you right there. This raid sucked ass.
Jesus, Trump, can I please finish my thoughts?
Nah, not when you make brain-dead takes like that. The suppression room and the fact that there are 3 Drake bosses that have such similar abilities back to back to back makes me want to create an F-tier category just for this raid. Netharian is also the biggest douchebag ever. Taunts you in dungeons and at his throne just to fall over like a loot piñata. The first boss just burns the time on your world buffs too. How does it even make sense that by killing the boss, the eggs explode, killing you? It's fucking stupid like you liberals. Make it make sense.
Okay, I was going to say B tier, but just to spite you, I'm going to say S tier.
Come on, Barack, be the bigger person. However, I did like the Nefarian fight. The class calls added some variance. The cloak being required to survive the breath made the Onyxia fight even more important. And the resummoning of all the dead dragons was a fun last ability to contend with. The adrenaline from getting to pump on Vael with the burning adrenaline buff he gives you is dope too. Chrome Magus was a tough fight as well, arguably the hardest up until this point.
That's a fucking low bar, Joe.
Fine, but I mean, we can't put this below Molten Core. That instance is the definition of lame.
Fine, I'll allow B tier then. Let's move on.
Ooh, Zul'Gurub. I love this instance. It was the only raid I completed at level 60 before TBC came out. Gosh, I remember it like it was yesterday. Corn Pop was our main tank, and I was a balanced druid, dropping fat starfires on all that opposed us.
Jesus, Joe, who the hell is Corn Pop? And of course you played a balanced druid. The only thing worse would be a Ret Paladin. I'm surprised you don't play that wheelchair spec.
Bro, you are so fat. I saw you using the mobility scooter in Walmart the other day.
I definitely don't need it. It's just fun to drive around.
Is it like playing Mario Kart? I mean, OKZG, it was great for what it is, an easy, quick catch-up raid. The 20-man group size was nice for setting up pugs for alts, and the aesthetic of the zone was good. It was also always fun to see mounts drop and gave a reason for the collectors to come back to the zone after the gear was invalidated. I'd say a tier below Onyxia.
Personally, I think B tier, having to come here for the enchant, was always annoying whenever you got an upgrade. But I do like that this is the culmination of quests that started in Tanaris. The world of classic WoW was so immersive, and the connection between zones and storylines was top-notch. Arguably never to be topped by another MMO, they also did do more with the rep here than with the Hydraxian Waterlords. Like, who even gave a fuck about those guys?
Low A tier, the soundtrack is really good.
Fine, but below Onyxia.
Agreed.
Okay, AQ20 next. I actually really liked this. It was a step down in difficulty from AQ40, but the fights felt unique. Also, just like in ZG, it was fun to get pugs in here for alts and even for mains to get rep and some gear early on.
Was too easy for me. Felt face roll from day one. C tier at best.
You went in there near BWL Biss, World Buffs, and 19 others with the same, what did you expect, a mythic raid from retail? No shit, it was easy.
Yeah, I think the difficulty was just right. And as Barack said, the fights had fun mechanics. Can we agree on low A tier?
Jesus, I've done nothing but compromise on every fight. If this continues, I'm going to...
Throw a fit wouldn't be the first time.
Fine, we can go high B tier.
Okay, listen up. AQ40 and Nax 40 are where the men start to come out and the boys need to go away. So maybe it's best if I just cover the next two raids.
Shut it, Trump. I'm running this. We all get to have a say, as we all prioritize different aspects of the raid. We can't get the full picture with a limited view.
Yay, Trump. What he said.
What did he even say, Joe?
Okay, Obama, what did you think about AQ40?
Well, I agree that the difficulty really starts to come out this tier. While not brutal like SSC, TK, Sunwell, or hard modes in Ulduar, it's no longer face roll easy like everything up until this point. The bosses did have some annoying mechanics such as needed frost damage for Viscidus or nature resist gear for all of Melee for Hoo-Hoo. But overall, the bosses were fun. Fights like Twins and Kuthun are iconic. Even some of the early fights provide some interesting mechanics like the split on Prophet Scarum. I'd say high A tier, a high.
Well, I know it's an S tier raid, but at least you aren't completely mentally disabled with an A tier rating.
I don't know. As much as I loved the war effort, I had a blast farming hundreds of Peace Bloom for my guild.
You are a good little drone, Joe.
Whatever, I got my little boxes.
Yeah, and they had crap in them. Congrats on some shitty greens and junk.
Let him have that, Don. He doesn't have much else.
Fair, go ahead, Joe.
Anyways, everything up until the raid was great. Opening the gate event, expanding Silithus, farming for the scepter were all perfect and peak classic.
Okay, good.
However,
Oh, God, no.
the raid itself was stupid. So many bugs. Like, get a little diversity. And the fights were also difficult. Losing my World Buffs 2 bosses in was awful.
Joe, you reanimated corpse. You belong in the mindless scourge. It's the Silithid capital. Of course, there are going to be lots of bugs. And just because your group struggled doesn't mean the raid is awful.
Guys, can we at least agree that the Trash Post Twins was awful?
Yeah, okay, fine. That shit was bad.
I say C tier.
Oh, come on, Obama. No way we go that low, right?
Yeah, gonna stick with my vote of high A tier.
Oh, what the fuck? List is garbage now.
It's finally getting fixed. After we gave Molten Core and BWL higher than D tier. Naxxrama's is the last classic raid, and oh boy, is it a good one. I think it's also an S tier raid, but about the same level as AQ40. So because you two casuals gave it A tier, I could see it going there too.
Personally, I think it's a little better than AQ40 was. The boss fights are more diverse, both in terms of design and difficulty. This allows for better replayability and progression, respectively. Fights like Loathib, 4 Hours Man, Sapphire, and Kel'Thuzad were all goated and have a special place in my heart from Classic.
I didn't really see much of this tier.
Sounds about right. Probably wiped on Anu Breeken of all fucking bosses.
We didn't. We got to Grand Widow and the Spider Wing. Never got past Patchwork, sadly. Let's see, we got Noth after some wipes, and then never got past Instructor, unfortunately.
Jesus, Joe, that's even worse than I thought. Why are you even commenting on this tier?
Okay, fuck this. Geez, sorry I'm not as good as you guys. I'm done.
Maybe while you go throw a tantrum, you can read a guide for once. Trash-ass player, go play some little kid game like Hello Kitty Island Adventures. Fucking noob.
Fuck off. Y'all can do the rest without me.
Jesus, Trump. Was that really necessary? I'm going to go try to calm him down. Let's settle on top of A tier for OG Nax.
Oh, please, with his dementia, he'll forget right away. Whatever, I'm going to go Ninja Loot a GDKP and Ulduar. I'll see you around for part 2.